A lone wildebeest stumbles, its ragged breath against the endless plain. The herd has moved, silence everywhere, broken only by the low growl of the lionesses, eyes fixed, muscles tensed. In a flash the grass bursts, claws sink in, dust rises, and the wildebeest falls. For one life lost, many others are sustained. This is the great migration from the Serengeti to the Maasai Mara. Here, every step is survival. The first storm breaks over the Ndutu plains. Lightning forks across a black sky. Thunder rolls across the horizon. Rain falls in sheets, soaking the volcanic dust. Within days, green shoots burst through the ash-rich soil. The grass returns, and with it, life stirs. Grass carries the fate of both herds and hunters. Without it, there is no movement. There is no migration. There is no survival. Nearly 250,000 zebras, Equus quagga, advance. Their blunt teeth tear through the rough grass, clearing the path for the wildebeest that follow. They clear the land before the wildebeest flood in. Between them, a foal takes its first uncertain steps, yet the grass is tall here. In the distance, a lioness begins her stalk. Low, silent, every muscle tense, she waits for the opening. The foal ambles, its striped coat blurring in the dazzle of hundreds around it. The predator's eyes flicker, struggling to lock onto a single body in the chaos of the shifting lines. Then it charges, dust explodes, hooves thunder. The herd reacts as one. Mothers close ranks, stallions wheel with violent kicks to scare off the lurking hyenas. The foal runs for its life. His stripes merge with those of his peers. For a moment the lioness fixes on him, then the pride moves on. The predator's concentration is broken. The colt disappears in the dazzle, swallowed by the stripes, saved by confusion and speed. He lives another day. When the dust settles, the herd regroups. Mothers nuzzle their young, reassuring them with soft whinnying sounds. The stallion circles wide, ears perked, pushing stragglers back toward the group. The foal hides again in the safety of bodies and stripes. Morning passes into midday. The mares lower their heads to graze, tearing at coarse grasses with blunt teeth. The foals mimic their mothers, tugging at the green shoots. Between bites they pause, grooming each other with careful bites. This unites zebra harems. A stallion for several mares. At midday the heat is oppressive. The herd converges on a watering hole. Heads dip, snouts churn the surface, but some always remain alert. A tail swishes, an ear twirls, an eye scans the horizon. Danger is never far away. Crocodiles lurk below, lions crouch in the shadows, and still the zebras drink. When the shadows lengthen, they move again. The stallion leads, memory orienting the path carved by generations before him. Zebras are the vanguard of the migration. Their teeth slice through the tall grass, leaving shorter leaves for the wildebeest that follow. At dusk, they gather on open ground. The foals lie down near their mothers, while the stallions patrol the perimeter. The day ends as it began. Tomorrow the journey continues. After them the wildebeests, Conochetes taurinus. Hungrier, more numerous, their numbers swell to nearly 1.5 million according to data collected by Serengeti National Park. The air vibrates with their calls, low and constant. Around January to March, when the rains fall and the grasses grow lush, calves are born on the damp ground in the tens of thousands. For a brief moment they are vulnerable, slippery and trembling. A calf takes its first breath. Its flimsy legs tremble beneath its thin body. Within minutes it is standing. Within hours it is running, the newborn imprints with its mother's scent. Every day, new calves rise to join the herd. Their bodies grow strong in their mother's shadow, yet each is an opportunity for predators. Jackals wait at the edge of the grass. The ghostly laughter of hyenas is carried on the wind. The lions crouch low, their eyes fixed on the weakest. The young wildebeest learns quickly. The herd never lingers. Every day is a cycle of feeding and moving. Snouts press into the ground, lips plucking shoots before they grow tall. Thousands graze in unison, sweeping the plain clean. Behind them, zebras leave the stalks, and gazelles take the tender tips. Predators are never far away. Knowing this, the herd never rests for long. Water governs every step. As the plains dry, the grass thins. Winds strip the ground bare, turning the green to brown. The young calf grows, its legs stronger now, but each day demands more distance. Each night brings new dangers. At dusk, the wildebeest gather in a circle. The calves lie down near their mothers, protected within a wall of bodies. The adults ruminate, eyes squinting but ears perking. Hyenas wait beyond the ring, prowling. A single break could mean another death. But in numbers, the herd endures. Morning comes with movement. Dust rises from thousands of hooves. The calf stumbles once, but momentum carries it on. The herd moves forward, seeking new grass following the rains. The young wildebeest is no longer a newborn, yet the toll of the journey ahead is heavy. Based on numerous studies, it is estimated that 250,000 wildebeest die each year. Some fall to predators, others to exhaustion. Many more drown in rivers or collapse in the sun. Yet each death returns to the ground. The carcasses feed vultures, hyenas, crocodiles, and insects. The bones bleach in the heat, decomposing into calcium and nutrients that replenish the grass. The rains dictate the migration. When they fall in the north, the herds follow. When the grass returns to the south, the herds return with it. This endless circuit, year after year, binds every species in the region. From the calf's first steps to its last breath, the cycle continues. And so the wildebeest move, drawn by the grass, propelled by the water. The crowned cranes, Balearica regulorum, soar above the din. Their wings capture the morning light. Proclaiming their presence in a trumpet-like call, they perch where wildebeest have churned the earth to mud. Here they walk with careful steps. Each footfall sparks a feast. Grasshoppers, beetles, and termites all scurry from their hiding places. With swift pecks, the cranes snatch them up. Their golden crowns burn against the dawn, each feather a halo of hardened light. They move in pairs. Crowned cranes mate for life, a bow, a leap, an outstretched wing. Even here, amid the chaos of migration, their ritual continues. Around them, the great herds move forward, but the cranes remain unhurried. Their long legs walk with delicate precision. Where wildebeest break the soil crust, the cranes follow. When the light fades, the pairs rest together, heads bowed, golden crowns rustle in the breeze. Not far away, tall and long-legged secretary birds, Sagittarius serpentarius, advance patiently through the grass. Their sharp eyes scan for the flash of scales or the spasm of lizards dislodged from their hiding place. These birds move with the herd, never too close, never too far. The pack unwittingly attracts prey into the open. Heat ripples across the grass as a secretary bird stops mid-stride. It's staring at a ripple under the stalks. The pack stirs only yards away. Here, amid the silence, a cobra rears up. The bird strikes first, a swift downward stomp with bone-crunching force. Jaws snapping in empty air, the cobra retreats. Another stomp, harder, crunching against scales. The snake lunges, but the bird leaps back. It strikes, retreats, strikes again. Each blow lands with bone-shaking precision until the snake falters and admits the inevitable. One last stomp finishes it off. The secretary bird inclines its head, assessing. Then it lifts the limp body with its hooked beak and swallows it. The herd thunders as it passes. Gazelles move on, moving like whispers across the plains. Nearly 400,000 individuals, according to figures given by Serengeti National Park, follow the herd, nibbling at the tender shoots exposed by the larger grazers. Small and slender Thompson's gazelles, Eudorcus thomsoni, remain in open country. They avoid high cover where ambushes lie in wait. Their young are born in seclusion, close to the ground for days. Mothers return only to nurse, leaving no scent trail for stalking hunters. Grant's gazelles, Nanga granti, are taller, with longer horns and a preference for drier terrain. They often linger where wildebeest have passed. This patience buys them freedom from competition, but it comes at a cost. They are more exposed, lonelier, and easier to isolate. Where water is scarce, they continue, foraging from tough shrubs and grasses that others leave behind. In full view of the plains, predators watch. A lioness, Panthera leo, lowers her body into the grass. Her coat blends perfectly with the golden haze of the earth. Every muscle is tense. Her eyes are fixed on the gazelle that strayed too far from the herd. She waits, careful not to make her presence obvious. Then, with a sudden impulse, she charges. The gazelle flees, zigzagging desperately, but the arc of lionesses has already closed. From the grass, two fan out, spreading like wings to cut off her escape routes. Every turn the gazelle makes only drives it deeper into its design. The toes steer with precision. Behind them, another lioness waits, watching for the moment when panic will break the gazelle's rhythm. For an instant, it seems the gazelle might escape. But the lionesses adjust, close ranks, narrowing the funnel. A final leap ends the chase in a smothered cry and a cloud of dust. The male lion waits apart from the hunt. His mane rises like fire over the grass. He does not run. He does not chase. But when the gazelle falls, he is first in line for the feast. He lowers his snout first, teeth closing on warm flesh. When he finishes, the lionesses claim their portions. As the sun climbs high and heat ripples over the plains, the pride spreads out in the shade. Bellies rise and fall with slow breaths. Cubs playfully thump their swishing tails. The hunt is over for now, and digestion demands stillness. Each lioness cleans her paws with her tongue, eyes half closed. When the cubs rise again, the carcass becomes their lesson. Tiny claws scrape the thick hide, baby teeth tug at sinew, learning the art of the kill in miniature. They snarl in mock fury, practicing the dominance they will one day need. The pride watches but does not interfere. This is their school. Without these endless prides, the young would have nothing to learn from, nothing to feed on, and no future on these plains. The lion jealously guards the pride's territory in this stretch of savanna. The grass bends beneath his paws. The trees bear the mark of his mane. The watering holes carry his scent. These marks warn intruders. Each roar vibrates the earth, shakes leaves, and stirs distant hooves. Still, a shadow approaches. A bachelor male prowls nearby. The pride male senses him. Roar meets roar. The challenger circles. Tension hums through the pride. Cubs crouch. Lionesses hunch, ready but waiting. Then, a collision. Shoulder hits shoulder. Claws tear sides. Jaws snap at throats. The challenger attacks with desperation. Yet the male of the pride strikes with authority, muscles coiling, weight overwhelming. He charges, knocks down, breaks. The intruder stumbles, arches its back, feels the pang of pain. It breaks and flees, bleeding, defeated. The pride is safe today. Had the bachelor won, he would have killed the existing cubs to bring the lionesses into heat and ensure that only their genes were propagated. The lionesses would then have mated with the intruder. Territory markings would have been erased and redrawn, but not today. The pride roars again at dusk. But the lions aren't the only hunters here. As twilight deepens, the shadows shift and laughter echoes in the distance. The pack's night hunt is barely over when the hyenas approach. At first, only eyes gleam in the gloom, dozens of flashes that burn like embers through the grass. Then they advance, bodies low and ears pressed flat. Their laughter grows with each step. The hyenas don't need to attack first if they can strike last. Matriarchal clans of up to 80 individuals fan out across the Serengeti, shadowing lions, cheetahs, and leopards. Tonight, a dozen lionesses form a defensive ring around their prey, but the hyenas are not afraid. In fact, the balance of power has shifted. Outnumbered almost 3-1, the lionesses grow restless. One hyena lunges forward, biting at the lion's flanks. Another charges from behind, teeth bared, only to leap back before claws can reach it. They harry the lions like vultures harry eagles, probing, testing, waiting for the one moment the guardians will falter. The confrontation drags on. The lions growl, the cubs moan, the wildebeest carcass lies half-eaten in the dust. Then the hyenas advance together. Their jaws, among the strongest in the animal kingdom, are made not only to tear but to crush bone itself. The first lioness lashes out, striking one in the head, but while she defends one flank, another is breached. The clan storms in. Surrounded and defenseless, the lions retreat. Victory belongs to the clan. This is the hyena rhythm. Follow, press, steal. However, it would be unfair to call them only scavengers. Their own hunts are among the most grueling spectacles in the Serengeti. When wildebeest calves stumble or gazelles tire, the hyenas lock onto them in a relentless pursuit. They are not built for speed like cheetahs, nor for brute strength like lions, but for endurance. They can run for miles without slowing their pace. Exhausted, with legs trembling and lungs burning, the prey collapses within 15 minutes. The clan pounces. Unlike lions, their rivals in hyena societies, power belongs to the females. The matriarch decides when the clan eats, when to fight, and who takes the lion's share. Cubs inherit their mother's rank, quickly learning how to dominate. In dams, the strongest females feed first. Males, even the fathers of the cubs, often wait until only scraps remain. Every carcass echoes with their voices. That haunting, mocking laughter is not madness but language. Every tone, every howl carries meaning. It could be a rallying cry for reinforcements, a signal of excitement over food, or a declaration of dominance. When the clan feeds, nothing is wasted. Muscle, tendons, even the smallest scraps of cartilage disappear between the teeth. The teeth crush ribs, grind vertebrae, and tear every bit of the bones. Even the marrow disappears. Smaller scavengers arrive too late, finding little more than dust and bone fragments already embedded in the ground. The hyena's feeding has left nothing behind. This consumption sustains the plains. It recycles nutrients in the soil. Microbes, insects, and smaller scavengers inherit what's left. By eating everything, the hyenas accelerate decomposition, returning carbon, nitrogen, and phosphorus to the ecosystem. Their feeding powers unseen life, from beetles in the ground to fish downstream, linking death and renewal throughout the Serengeti. At dawn, the clan moves away from the plains. The southern Serengeti, near Ndutu, is where the great migration slows down in calving grounds. Here, the grass lies short and green, but danger coils around every shadow. Here, a cheetah, a Synonym jubatus, prepares for her daily gamble. Slender and trim, she crouches low. Her spotted coat dissolves into the golden earth. Up ahead, a group of Thompson's gazelles graze, their young nearby, twitching ears picking up every whisper of movement. The cheetah's amber eyes fix on a youngster straying a little further from its mother. For long minutes she waits. Heart steady, she times the chase with the distraction of the pack, with the direction of the wind, with the subtle shifts that dictate success or failure. Then a bang! The cheetah launches, claws scraping the earth, an acceleration like nothing else on Earth. In just 3 seconds, she can reach speeds of up to 80 kilometers per hour. But this race doesn't last long. Timing is everything. The gazelles scatter in panic. The cub flees, zigzagging frantically. The mother spins, whinnying a sharp warning, but the predator is already closing the distance. With each leap, the cheetah's spine flexes like a coiled spring, its stride reaching 7 meters. It comes closer and closer, and then, with a swipe of its paw, it hooks the cub's legs, sending it tumbling into the dust. Death comes quickly, yet silence does not follow. Hyenas already appear on the horizon, their howls carrying across the plains. The cheetah drags its prey to cover. Alone, it cannot defend its hunt from a clan of hyenas. It eats hastily, always looking up, listening for the advancing calls. Within minutes, the shadows break. 2 hyenas burst in, cackling, fearless. She hisses, strikes lamely, but it is no use. They seize the carcass. Unmatched speed delivers food, but offers no safety. Many hunts fail. Her energy is spent in empty runs. Cubs, if she carries them, often starve when meals are stolen. Still, she endures, for on the southern plains, wildebeest calves keep arriving, and every day is another opportunity. She will crouch again tomorrow, eyes fixed on another calf, ready to bet everything on that single burst of speed. High risk, high reward. Ndutu Plains, where wildebeest calves stumble into the world by the tens of thousands, another cheetah, a mother, moves with shadows at her side. 4 cubs, barely 3 months old, follow close behind, their backs covered in a shaggy blanket of fur. This mimics the long grass and hides them from predators. Lurching with play and hunger, the cubs chase their mother's tail, jump on beetles, and knock each other off their feet in mock battles. The mother must hunt enough to feed them all, but she must also keep them hidden from lions, hyenas, and even martial eagles, all on guard for any sign of weakness. At dawn, she leads them to a termite mound that serves as an observation point, patiently scanning the plains. Herds of Thompson's gazelles graze nearby, their young clinging to their mothers. A wildebeest calf lingers farther back. She crouches, her belly brushing the ground, ears flat, tail tensed. The cubs mimic her stalk, peering over the mound, unwittingly absorbing lessons. Then her stalking begins, each paw positioned as if the ground might betray her. The cubs wait, eyes wide, as their mother breaks into a run. The wildebeest calf flees, but the predator closes, swerving at the last instant to trip the calf with a nimble swipe. In seconds, it's all over, the calf collapsing beneath its weight. The cubs rush forward, squealing with excitement, rolling over the carcass. They don't yet know how to make a kill, but their tiny teeth tug and chew the prize. The mother allows it, licking them gently, nudging them into position. Each time she stalks, each time she runs, she gives her cubs another day, another chance. At the edges of the plains, where the big hunters command center stage, golden jackals, Canis aureus, glide like ghosts through the grasses. They rarely bring down large prey on their own, but they are patient. This is their greatest weapon. When lions leave a carcass half-eaten, or when hyenas move away, the jackals pounce. Gnawing at remains, tearing sinew from bone, they feed in moments of chaos. At dawn or dusk, their silhouettes against the sky often betray their presence. Prowling near the kills of others, they wait for the perfect opportunity. Beneath a tangle of bushes, hidden from the sun and the eyes of predators, a burrow shelters new life. Here, cubs stir restlessly. Their ears are too large for their heads, and their coats are still soft. The parents return with scraps stolen from the previous night. They deposit them at the entrance. Tiny jaws tug greedily. As the moon rises, the plains echo with the roars of lions and the howls of hyenas. Jackals intone their own refrain. Not far from where the jackals prowl, the calls of baboons echo through the acacia groves and out onto the plains. These primates straddle the uneasy boundary between predator and prey. Their intelligence makes them both bold and cautious. During calving season, they burst into the grasslands in search of fawns. They generally feed on fruits and roots, insects dislodged by the feet of migrating herds, and even the young of gazelles or impalas when opportunity permits. Yet for all their cunning and strength, the baboons remain wary, for leopards lurk in the treetops. There is one nearby at this very moment. With amber eyes fixed on the hyenas feeding below, the leopard, Panthera pardus, crouches high atop a twisted acacia branch. The cat shifts imperceptibly, balancing on the limb, body tense. A noiseless leap and claws sink into the fatty flank of the carcass. A surprised growl erupts from the hyenas, teeth click, the fur bristles. The leopard hisses and drags the prize to the treetop. This is one of its signature behaviors called rearing. Leopards are incredibly strong for their size, with powerful neck, shoulder, and forelimb muscles. An adult leopard can drag prey of roughly the same weight as its own. This is up to 30 to 40 kilograms and sometimes heavier if it uses momentum and leverage. They do this to protect the kill from hyenas or lions who cannot easily climb trees. By hoisting the carcass into a fork or onto a strong branch, the leopard can feed for several days. It returns under the cover of nightfall to avoid confrontations during the meal. Night deepens, but the leopard does not relax. Its senses are strained by every sound and smell. Distant water laps on the riverbank. Insects buzz low in the grass. A wildebeest calf, separated from its mother, moves too close. The great migration brings opportunities that cannot be missed. Muscles tense again. Silent pause, eyes fixed, the leopard glides through the shadows. With a final, precise leap, it secures a new kill, feeding efficiently, consuming meat and leaving little for scavengers. Bones are cracked, marrow is extracted, even the remnants of sinew disappear. Slender by day, the leopard's coat is now streaked with dust, blood, and fat. As dawn begins to pale on the horizon, the hyenas regroup. Jackals approach. Vultures descend from the sky, sensing scraps. The leopard slips into deeper cover, muscles tense but at rest. Belly full but senses still alert, it watches the plains awaken. By mid-morning, the leopard is gone. Over the plains, shadows swirl against the blue. From several thousand meters above, a group of Ruppel's white-backed vultures, Gyps ruepeli, detects movement. A group of jackals and hyenas feeds near a half-eaten wildebeest. The vultures lean into the thermals. Beaks sharp, amber eyes and unfazed, they spiral downward. The first to descend touches the ground gently, wings folding, talons gripping the soft earth. White-backed vultures follow in flocks, landing with thuds. The lappet-faced vultures impose their dominance with brute weight, pushing the others back. But Ruppel's white-backed vulture remains composed. Taking the main portions first, it tears muscle from bone. Its beak tears, mandibles crunch, marrow is released. Nearby, the jackals approach. The hyenas stop. The white-backed vulture rises slightly, circles, then lands again on untouched remains. Its flight forces other scavengers to retreat. Smaller hooded vultures wait at the edges, pecking at remains, cleaning up what the white-backed vulture leaves behind. The white-backed vulture feeds, swallows, and ascends back into the sky, seeking another carcass. Thermals lift it higher as midday approaches. From above, it watches hyenas fight over the remains. A swoop descends. Jackals scatter. Lappet-faced vultures dominate what's left on the ground. The white-backed vulture ascends again, letting the heat lift it, circling back on the migration path. Each consumed carcass accelerates the recycling of nutrients. It also feeds insects, fish, and smaller mammals. This ensures that energy flows efficiently through the ecosystem. As the sun climbs, the white-backed vulture glides over the plains, looking for stragglers or new kills. Wings spread, its flight is effortless. It doesn't rush. The leopard, the hyenas, the jackals all below shape the ground. But the white-backed vulture's domain is the air. Toward mid-afternoon, the vulture's circle widens. It slips south, thermals carrying it across rivers and plains. The carcasses below are reduced to bone. Only fragments of sinew remain. As evening falls, the white-backed vulture spirals upward. Below, the plains are quiet. Life and death continue. So too does migration. Small, brown, and seemingly unremarkable, oxpeckers, unlike vultures, live off the living. These birds are symbiotic partners. They cling to each other's backs as packs thunder across the plains. Their long beaks pluck ticks, lice, and other parasites from skin. Yet their relationship is not entirely benevolent. Oxpeckers also explore wounds, drinking the blood that oozes from the cuts. This keeps them open longer than they would otherwise heal. Still, the balance favors survival. Without their tireless grooming, herds would suffer more severe parasite infestations. Keen-eyed and quick to raise the alarm, oxpeckers screech when lions crouch in the grass or hyenas prowl too close. Their cries ripple through the herds and set hundreds of animals in motion. The warning of a single bird can trigger a stampede that saves dozens of lives. If birds attend to the bodies of the dead and the skin of the living, insects also take responsibility. Most important among them are the dung beetles that thrive during migration. When wildebeest flood the plains, they leave behind mountains of dung. Dung beetles turn this into treasure. With astonishing strength, they carve balls of dung up to 50 times their body weight, rolling them along the ground. Some bury them as food reserves, while others prepare them as breeding chambers for their young. Beneath the ground, these balls release nutrients back into the earth. This enriches the grasses that will one day feed new generations of wildebeest and zebra. Around the carcasses, flies swarm in dense black clouds. Within hours of death, they cover the remains, laying eggs that hatch into grubs. These grubs consume the flesh and then metamorphose into adults. Finally, termites claim what's left when everyone else has finished. They gnaw at the sun-bleached bones, grinding them into calcium-rich powder. Their endless labor reduces even the hardest remains to dust. They recover minerals and redistribute them in the soil. However, not all death remains on land. The rivers exact their tribute. When wildebeest herds push north and attempt to cross the Grumeti and Mara rivers, many never make it. They drown in the crush of bodies or are swept away by currents too strong to resist. Days later, their carcasses wash up on the banks or accumulate in tangled heaps in midstream. For marabou storks, Leptoptylos crumenifer, this is a grim fortune, tall, bald-headed, with a mantle of bedraggled feathers and a dagger-like beak. They float through scenes of carnage. They rarely make kills themselves. Instead, they arrive to feed on each carcass. Their long legs carry them to the center of the feast. With a lunge of their heavy beak, they stab into the flesh or drag up scraps left by others. They gather by the dozens on the banks of these waters, gorging themselves on carrion for weeks. Their bare heads become coated with blood as they burrow deep into the carcasses. Beneath the surface, a wildebeest's fall becomes a feast for catfish and tilapia, among other water dwellers. Wide-mouthed, with whisker-fringed faces, catfish are opportunistic predators that thrive on carrion. They pounce on drowning wildebeest, tearing out the flesh in powerful bites. Tilapia, more accustomed to feeding on algae and detritus, join the feast, consuming softer tissues. Each carcass releases a flood of proteins into the river. Currents carry these nutrients downstream, spreading sustenance far beyond the site of the kill. Aquatic insects also benefit from this macabre scene. Flies and mosquitoes lay eggs on the submerged carcasses. Their larvae crawl over the flesh and bone as they decompose. Caddisflies and mayflies thrive on the detritus. Dragonfly nymphs, hidden in the muddy banks, take advantage of the feast, devouring smaller insect larvae that flourish in this nutrient-rich water. Amphibians like frogs and toads also benefit. They feed on the insect explosion. Their numbers increase, and with them the voices of the evening choirs that rise from the riverbanks. But this underwater life doesn't go unnoticed above. Grey herons, Ardea cinerea, patrol the shallows, their sharp beaks ready like spears. They stand like statues along the riverbank, long legs steady in the shallow water, necks coiled, eyes fixed. They scan for movement, muscles tense. The bird waits. A flash of movement, a small fish darting among submerged vegetation prompts action. In a sudden stroke, the heron darts forward. The neck flares and the beak stabs with lethal precision. The fish is skewered and quickly pulled from the water. The heron throws its head back, swallowing the prey whole. Water droplets splash onto the breast and wings, feathers fanning out for balance. Juveniles watch from nearby shallows, clumsily dipping their beaks. They often fail entirely to catch prey. Adults, however, feed with masterful calm, taking advantage of currents, shadows, and the faintest glimpse of prey beneath the surface. The river itself dictates behavior. Swift currents pull fish into certain channels. Submerged weeds create hiding places. The heron adapts, adjusting posture and strike with each calculated decision. The Great Migration amplifies opportunity. Drowning calves increase the flow of nutrients in the river, attracting schools of fish. Aquatic insects thrive, surfacing, drawing smaller prey. Every ripple, every eddy is a signal to the heron. Predators move in the distance. Crocodiles lie beneath the surface, almost invisible. The heron senses them through subtle ripples, adjusting attack patterns and posture to avoid danger. Even the arrival of scavengers along the banks, such as jackals or opportunistic vultures pecking at remains, does not distract the heron. Its focus is singular: detect, strike, capture. By controlling fish populations, herons prevent overgrazing of algae and small aquatic invertebrates. Their presence attracts other species. The nutrient pulses of migration reverberate through these interactions. At midday, adults retreat to shaded banks or low trees, resting but alert. Juveniles continue practicing, fine-tuning attacks, learning the river's currents and reading subtle ripples. The Great Migration moves ever on. The water pulses with life and death, and the herons keep pace. As dusk approaches, grey herons gather in quiet groups, perching on islands in the river or low branches. Each bird surveys the river one last time. Prepared for the night's rest, the bird scans its surroundings and keeps its senses alert. Tomorrow, the pulse of migration will return, and the hunt will begin again. Kingfishers dart in vibrant flashes of blue and brown, hovering above the river's surface. Their wings beat with a swift, precise motion, catching the sunlight in a blaze of color. Sharp, dark eyes follow the slightest ripple. In an instant, they dive. Beaks slice through the water cleanly, catching prey before the ripple can fade. Droplets of water scatter like jewels in the sun as the bird ascends, triumphant, a small prey swallowed in one gulp. From a reed or low-hanging branch, they dip their heads, scanning for the next move. The Great Migration brings opportunity. Drowned calves and displaced fish send ripples through the river, concentrating prey in pouches. Aquatic insects thrive on the carcass's nutrients, swarming near the surface. Every ripple, every flash of movement signals a potential meal. The kingfishers respond instantly. They hover, dive, and ascend in a continuous cycle. Their dives are precise, often returning to the same spot when currents concentrate prey in eddies or along the banks. The territory is fiercely defended. A dominant adult will chase intruders with high-pitched squeals and rapid lunges. Juveniles stay on the margins, learning timing and strategy. The fish is caught and consumed mid-flight. The river itself dictates behavior. Flow speed, clarity, and shadow patterns control the kingfisher's choices. Sunlight reflects off scales, insects are mistaken for debris, and currents either carry away or concentrate prey. But failures, however minor, have consequences. A misjudged plunge can leave a kingfisher soaked, vulnerable to predators like hawks or snakes. By feeding on concentrated fish and insects, they control insect populations, offer themselves to larger predators, and connect the river's pulse to the flats beyond. At dusk, kingfishers retreat to sheltered branches. Wings folded, they scan the last shadows of the day. Tomorrow, the cycle will begin again. Hippos, Hippopotamus amphibius, of the Serengeti and Mara rivers are among the most paradoxical figures in the migration drama. Herbivores by diet, they are still among the deadliest animals in Africa. At first glance, they appear almost comical, great barrels of meat resting half submerged in the water. Only their eyes and nostrils break the surface. But beneath this deceptive stillness lies a force of violence unmatched by many carnivores. When herds of wildebeest descend the banks in a frenzy of panic and instinct, they often find the rivers already occupied by these massive animals. A male hippopotamus, weighing more than 1,500 kilograms, claims stretches of water as its fiefdom, and it defends it with explosive bursts. For the wildebeest, the river is an inescapable passage. The hippos make it as dangerous as the crocodiles waiting below. They do not hunt wildebeest, but they are territorial to the point of madness. Males engage in confrontations that can leave their tusks, incisors up to half a meter long, embedded in the flesh of rivals. When wildebeest attempt a crossing too close to a dominant male, he responds with violent charges, wide-open jaws, and sometimes fatal bites. Yet for all their aggression, hippos are also keystone species in the river. Every day they defecate prodigious quantities of manure into the rivers where they rest, a constant shower of organic matter that fertilizes the aquatic web of life. Catfish, tilapia, and countless smaller species feed on the released nutrients, their populations increasing with the abundance. In turn, this sustains fish-eating birds, crocodiles, and even humans. Scientists have called hippos ecosystem engineers, reshaping the very nutrient cycles in East Africa's rivers. During peak crossings in July and August, hippos are obstacles. Mothers with calves are caught between the jaws of crocodiles and the unpredictable wrath of a territorial hippo. At some crossings, dozens of wildebeest are trampled, drowned, or crushed. At night, migratory herds sometimes graze side by side with hippos on the savanna. Massive grey bodies move in shallow water. Nostrils flare above the surface. Hooves splash through the mud. Calves approach, tails swishing, eyes open. Mothers nudge them back or gently guide them. A hippo rears up, its jaw gapes wide, a deep growl vibrates through the water. The herd freezes, a calf gets too close. The giant pushes it away, muscles ripple beneath thick hide, eyes gleam in the torchlight. The wildebeest retreat. The riverbank belongs to these giants. Calves skim the water's edge. Insects buzz around them. Hippos spray water forcefully, feet stamp in the mud, churning it into thick eddies. Grass bends under massive weight, dung disperses, nutrients seep into the soil and water. Each step fuels life beyond the herd. Crocodiles lie in the river, eyes glowing dimly. Jaws break the water's surface, motionless. They sense movement. A young crocodile nudges a floating carcass. Suddenly, a hippopotamus jerks its enormous head. Teeth snap with terrifying power. The water explodes around the intruder. The crocodile retreats back into the shadows. At dawn, the hippos move into deeper water. The river calms. The crocodiles resume patrols but keep to the margins. The migration continues. The herd follows, the calves cautious but resilient. The Grumeti and Mara rivers lie still at dawn. Brown ribbons of silt snake across the plains. The reeds tremble in a light breeze. The surface is calm, deceptive. Beneath, ancient hunters wait. Nile crocodiles, Crocodilus niloticus, silent, patient. Apex predators that have remained unchanged for 200 million years, survivors of ice ages, mass extinctions, and the fall of the dinosaurs. Now their feast arrives on clopping hooves. The migration begins and the rivers awaken, eyes flashing over the water, muscles tense, tail resting against the mud. A lone crocodile prepares. It senses tremors through the riverbed, the distant thunder of hooves. Dust rises on the southern plains. Mothers clutch calves to them. Movement. The crocodile shifts imperceptibly, nostrils skimming the surface. The first wildebeest enters the grumeti. The water erupts, a leap, a slip, a calf falls. Panic erupts. The crocodiles react. The 6-meter reptile bursts from the water. The bite force exceeds 16,000 newtons. The crocodile closes its jaws on a flailing leg. Dragged sideways, the prey thrashes, but in vain. The death knell begins. The spine twists, bones splinter, flesh tears, the water boils red. Other crocodiles join in. Some wait, motionless as stone. Others advance with perfect timing. The herd reacts as one. Hooves pound the water. Clouds of dust rise. Calves rush. Mothers push and steer. Herds collide. Some wildebeest are trampled before the crocodiles even attack. Away from the heat of the action, a younger crocodile, only 3 meters long, hunts near a sandbank. Smaller, less powerful, but swift, it targets a straggling calf. Timing is everything. It lunges. Claws and teeth clamp down. The calf thrashes violently. Mud splashes. A hyena approaches downstream, drawn by panic. The crocodile spins, snapping, teeth scraping bone. The hyena retreats in fear. The river throbs with chaos. Hundreds of wildebeest leap blindly. Some collide in mid-river. Currents drag bodies. Crocodiles in formation seize the opportunity. Older giants trap larger adults. Smaller crocodiles handle calves. Fish burst in. Scavengers follow. Aquatic insects explode. The river pulses with energy. Hippos patrol nearby. Adults stomp and splash. Crocodiles respect their territory. A miscalculated attack could end in injury or death. Wildebeest calves graze near the hippo's banks, learning the rhythm. Predators adjust to the giant's beat, but daily rhythms are more than just violent episodes. As the sun rises, the crocodiles slide out of the water. Their scales gleam, wet and dark, their bodies warm on the sand, jaws slightly open, tails swishing to remove air. Muscles relax. Heat seeps in. By mid-morning, the water temperature rises. The crocodile glides back into the river. The scales cool. The eyes break the surface, the nostrils flare, the body floats, motionless but alert. At midday, with the sun high, the crocodiles bask again. The sand absorbs heat. Their front paws press down, their bellies touch the warm grains, their mouths open wider. Evaporation cools, the skin temperature balances the internal heat. In the afternoon, the reptiles drift into the shade of the bank. The tail is half submerged, scales darker underwater. The heart rate slows. In the afternoon, the water cools. The crocodiles return to the sunny patch. Their muscles stretch. Their breathing is steady. Their eyes monitor the riverbank. At night, they float deeper. Only their eyes and nostrils are above the surface. Muscle activity is minimal. Energy is conserved, ready for dawn. As the last herds cross, the crocodiles sink into the shadows. Bloated or thin, they retreat to still waters. Months of fasting await. The river sleeps. Life has pulsed through it once more. Survival, patience, and instinct remain unchanged. By the time the herds move beyond, the Mara and Grumeti rivers are calm again. Next year, the migration will return, and with it, life will erupt once more. Just before that happens, females lay eggs along the sandy banks of the Grumeti and Mara rivers. This is at the beginning of the dry season, from December to March. The young emerge in the months leading up to the migration, the banks warm in the early sun. Sandy edges rise above the brown ribbon of the Grumeti. Crocodiles stir. Females, heavy with eggs, drag themselves toward the bank. Muscles ripple beneath scaly skin. Claws dig in the loose sand. A nest site is chosen, slight rise, close enough to the water for young, far enough to avoid flooding. The tail pushes aside the sand. The body coils. Egg chambers are dug with sweeping movements of the forelegs. A clutch may number 40 to 60 eggs, smooth, oval, fragile. Each one is a potential survivor. Once laid, the female covers the nest. Sand and vegetation conceal it from predators. The warmth of the sun and decaying plants incubates the eggs. Temperature decides the sex. Warmer nests produce males. Cooler nests produce females. The mother guards her nest jealously. Any disturbance, any shadow attracts her attention. Crocodiles are not passive parents. They protect with their jaws and bodies. Nearby, males patrol the territory. They mark boundaries with sprays of water and deep rumbles. Males rarely protect nests directly, but they dominate waterways. Their presence deters rival males and potential threats. Weeks pass, the river flows steadily, rain swells the water, floods threaten nests, females move sand, build dikes and adjust the vegetation cover. The temperature rises, eggs tremble under layers of sand, life stirs inside fragile shells, then a subtle vibration, tiny cracks, young push against the membranes. One breaks free, the next follows, a chorus of tiny squeals rises. The mother waits nearby, muscles tense, eyes scanning. Hyenas, monitor lizards and birds circle. The first small crocodile wriggles toward the water. The tail twitches, legs pump, mud splashes, others follow. In the river, currents tug. The young learn fast, small, agile, aware of the shadows above. Their first prey are insects, small fish and aquatic larvae. Training begins, muscles strengthen. The hunting instinct awakens. The mother watches. Patience, protection and guidance mark this first phase of life. At dusk, all the young reach shallow water. Some will not survive. The river decides. Through this cycle, another generation of Nile crocodiles emerges, synchronized with the rhythm of the migration. The river will witness hundreds of crossings before these young predators make their first big hunt. For now, the survivors of the pack climb out, shivering and exhausted. Before them lies the Maasai Mara. Here, elephants, Loxodonta africana, move with quiet authority. The matriarch guides. Tusks gleam, ears flick, blood pulses through vast veins. Each step sinks deep into the earth, sending vibrations through the ground. The herd moves as one. Calves wobble on tiny legs. Mothers hold them with curling trunks. Juveniles mimic adults, learning movements, gestures and signals. Low rumbles float over the plains. Infrasound travels for miles. The herd responds. A subtle pause, a shift in weight, ears twitching. Danger or safety matter little to humans, everything to the herd. Paths laid out by generations guide them. Hidden pools during droughts, safe floodplains to cross, shady trees, fruiting bushes, all stored in the matriarch's memory. She guides with certainty. They continue without hesitation. Their survival depends on it. Dust rises further south. The migration is approaching. Thousands of wildebeest burst over the horizon. Hooves pound the earth. Thunder rumbles, mingling with the low rumbles of the elephants. The matriarch stops. The adults rearrange themselves, flanks and rear positioned to protect the calves. Hippos float in shallow pools, watching. Crocodiles lie motionless in deeper channels. Predators pause, measuring distance, assessing risk. Wildebeest rumble beyond, elephants adjust. Trunks spread mud over backs, cooling skin, protecting against sun and insects. Calves play cautiously, edging out of the stomping tide. Juveniles practice trunk movements, learning precision and timing. The river comes into view. The mud glistens, water ripples under tusks. Trunks scoop, spray and cool skin. Calves mimic clumsily, spilling more than they drink. Adults move deliberately, wading through shallow pools. Hippos block channels. Crocodiles glide deeper, mindful of the elephant's bulk. Predators approach edges cautiously. The elephant's size commands respect. At feeding time, trunks snap branches, break pods and tear leaves. Footprints carve trails in the soil. Seeds scatter, carried in dung. Crushed wetland plants disperse. Birds follow. Insects flee. Fish stir underwater. Life pulses with the elephant's every step. Migration reshapes the plains. Predators shift positions. Carcasses, dung and footprints create nutrient pulses. The ecosystem responds to their movement. Calves explore mud puddles, splashing about. Juveniles practice trunk coordination, imitation, gestures, subtle warnings. The matriarch constantly watches. At midday, the herd moves into acacia groves. Shade provides relief. Trunks sweep arcs of water overhide. Mud seals protection. Calves huddle beneath the adults. Predators adjust too. Lions retreat to the shadows. Hyenas pause. Crocodiles dive deeper. Even smaller scavengers watch. Separated from the family led by the matriarch, males wander in bachelor groups. As the day wears on, clouds of dust from the migrating herds roll closer. Wildebeests and zebras alter the microclimate. Birds follow, feeding on insects stirred by the movement. Predators reposition themselves, eyes alert. Crocodiles wait in streams, muscles tense. Hippos adjust their grazing, aware of the new traffic. Each species reacts to the pulse of life. When the heat reaches its peak, the matriarch raises her trunk and sprays water over herself. Mud rubs onto the skin. Thermoregulation is achieved through movement, water, and sun protection. Activity alternates with vigilance. Every rustle is noticed. In the late afternoon, the elephants advance deeper into the Mara. Trunks sweep, tusks erupt, feet press into the damp ground. Waterholes boil with new arrivals. The herd moves like a wall of muscle and memory. Protected calves, alert juveniles. They feed, protect, move, and repeat. As night falls, the elephants rest but remain alert. Calves sleep beneath the adults. Juveniles survey their surroundings. Trunks occasionally sweep, ears flick, tails shoo insects away. Knowledge passes silently. Survival continues. Seeds are planted, water stirs, trails are carved. Footprints become pathways for other species. Life persists with every step. Migrating herds reshape the ecosystem. Dawn breaks again. Elephants move. Calves stumble. Juveniles imitate. Adults lead. Paths laid down for generations guide them. The cycle repeats day after day, year after year. A living tower in motion, the Maasai giraffe, Giraffa tippelskirki, walks over the migration. Below, wildebeest advance in restless tides. Clouds of dust rise, hooves pound the earth. Yet the giraffe moves slowly, browsing high in the acacia canopy. A tongue, black as silk, coils around thorns and leaves. Branches snap, leaves disappear. Grass herbivores swarm below. The giraffe ignores them. Height is more than an advantage. It is a warning. The giraffe raises its head. It stops. The chewing ceases. Muscles tense. Signals ripple through the grass. Smaller grazers respond immediately. They do not wait. If the giraffe flees, they flee too. A ripple of movement spreads across the plains. Predators watch. Lions crouch. Hyenas prowl. Leopards freeze in the shadow. The giant sentinel sets the pace of fear. The calves are weakness. Born on open plains, legs wobble, heads barely reach a mother's shoulder, eyes wide, they stumble in a world of claws and fangs. Lions, hyenas, and leopards know a calf is alone. Wildebeest numbers can drown predators, but a giraffe calf is vulnerable. A lioness sees opportunity. She crouches, eyes fixed, timing her attack, waiting for a misstep. The attack comes without warning. The feline bursts from the grass, low, quick, muscles ripple beneath sleek fur. Dust rises under pounding paws. The calf stumbles, legs flailing, heart pounding. The mother turns. Hooves pound the earth. Thunder answers the predator. A storm of power radiates outward. The lioness leaps. A kick explodes, bone against force. A crunch sounds sharp like a gunshot. She rolls in the dust. Another blow lashes out, inches from her skull. Stunned, battered, she staggers away. The calf presses against its mother, shivering but alive. Adults are not so easily threatened. Few predators risk a full-grown giraffe. A single kick can break bones. A single blow can end a hunt. A single impact can end a life. Lions calculate, measure, and hesitate. Hyenas prowl at a distance. Leopards retreat to the shadows. And the giraffe advances, calm, imposing, untouchable. The calves protected in the shadow of impossible paws. They shape the land. Every snapped branch, every thinned canopy opens sunlight for the grasses below. The acacia is pruned, kept at bay. The forest becomes a mosaic. The grasslands spread. Birds perch on broken branches. Insects thrive where shoots regrow. Grass-eating herbivores fatten up in open clearings. Without giraffes, the balance falters. The forest thickens. The grass fades. Migratory corridors lose their livelihood. Life itself reshapes itself around their diet. Giraffes roam in loose groups. Males clash in brutal duels. Neck to neck, muscles tense, bones hit bone. Echoes ripple across the plains. Dust rises from hooves. Wildebeest thunder past. Calves watch, learning. Following their mothers, the young play in open fields. They stumble on spindly legs. Mud sticks to short fur. Adult trunks guide them, teach them, protect them. Movements are mirrored, signals are learned. Survival is coded in gestures, ear flick, trunk sweep, twig crack. As night falls, predators pause, but vigilance never ceases. Adults rise above sleeping calves, hooves firmly planted. Ears twitch at the slightest rustle, eyes scan for movement. Moonlight glints off eyes, fangs and leaves. A lioness prowls in the distance. The mother stirs, hooves scraping the soft earth. The calves huddle closer. The threat is ever present. Survival demands constant attention. As dawn comes, the dust rises again. The painted wolves, Lycaon pictus, move like shadows across the plains. Known to many as African wild dogs, their coats are mottled with flecks of gold, black and white. camouflage against the scrub and dust. They glide silently on lean bodies. There is no chaos in their hunts. A flick of an ear, a change in stride, and the herd adjusts as if one mind guides them all. They search for stragglers. A young wildebeest breaks away from its mother. Its legs fail in the dust. Eyes wide open, it perceives danger too late. A single dog crouches low. Tail stiff, legs light on dry ground, it moves forward, snapping to direct the calf toward the herd. Another dog flanks from the left. Another surges forward, cutting off escape routes. The dust rises around them, and the rhythm of the chase begins. The calf flees, hooves pounding. The dogs adjust, running in fluid arcs. They corner, lead, shove. The herd is a single organism, breathing and moving as one. Minutes pass. The circle closes. The calf stumbles, a misstep in the dirt. A dog lunges. Teeth graze flank. Panic erupts. Another dog bites, jaws lock. The end is swift. Without hesitation, victory ripples through the herd. Pups whine, ears pricked. The elders advance, bodies tired but agile. The carcass is divided, shared and consumed in turn. Even the weakest receives its share. Each member knows its role. Unity is strength. Blood ties are secondary. Loyalty binds more strongly, yet the hunt is not over. The dust clears and eyes scan again. Another straggler emerges from the tide of migrating wildebeest. A lone gazelle lingers too long in thorn bushes. The same ritual begins. A dog moves forward and a nod signals action. The circle closes again. Hooves pound. Breath comes in gasps. Pause, strain. Amid the frenzy, one dog falters. A hind leg hits a hidden rock. Pain flares. It stumbles, but the others adjust without hesitation, compensating without question. When the hunt is over, the landscape is silent, save for the calls of wolves and the rustling of grasses. The calf, once filled with fear, is gone. Beyond the hunt, the bonds are visible. Pups chase after adults, learning routes and rhythms. Older wolves lead, teaching subtle cues, when to slow, when to turn, when to attack. Eyes lock with understanding. Whimpers and growls convey information faster than thought. Mistakes are immediately corrected. As the day wears on, the pack rests briefly among brush and shade. Their eyes never fully close. Distant predators stalk silently. Lions might test a weak straggler. Hyenas wait for scraps. But painted wolves thrive on anticipation and cohesion. As evening falls, the pack rumbles again. Dust swirls in the cool air. The pack rises, muscles tense, paws strike the earth with silent precision. And even in the night, in the fading light, the echoes of their hunts linger. Calls rise in the darkness. The young learn. The old rest, watchful. Upon them, danger falls from the sky. Vast wings cast shadows over the Mara. The martial eagles, Polymatus bellicosus, float on thermals. Every movement below is catalogued, memorized and judged. Amber eyes glow, scanning for weakness. Their targets are small, unstable. A springbok calf, a newborn wildebeest, or a wild dog pup that strays too far from the burrow. A pup yawns, curious, advancing beyond the burrow's protective circle. The herd is alert but cannot see everything. Shadows pass above. One instant, calm. The next, life hangs at the edge. The eagle folds its wings. Gravity and muscle accelerate it. Tail feathers tighten. Wings slice through the air. Speed soars. Peaks of around 240 kilometers per hour have been recorded. Even if the speed is lower here, it is still terrifyingly fast. The pup freezes, eyes open, a heartbeat too slow. Talons dart out, extending with crushing precision. The pup struggles, legs thrashing, fur bristles, whimpers pierce the morning stillness. A sudden roar rises from the pack. The adults bark, rush for the burrow, teeth bared, jaws snapping. One dives, powerful shoulders advancing through the dust. Another cuts a path beneath the eagle's trajectory. They are swift, but the sky commands. The eagle ascends lightly. Talons closed on the pup. Nails sink deep. The pup hangs, wings shadow above. The adults leap, teeth snapping at empty air. The pup's small body is lifted skyward. Fur soaks with dust and blood. Each cry is drowned in the wind. The eagle turns, soars, carrying its prey to an out-of-reach branch. The branch is thick, safe from the climbing adults. The claws release. The cub hits the wood with a thud. The eagle swoops over it, its beak tearing flesh, its strength absolute. Even the tiny creature's bones are tested. Minutes pass in silent violence. The pack below can't reach it. Other cubs hide deeper in the burrow. The mothers huddle together, ears straining for every shadow. They sniff, they growl, they murmur. Even in the stillness after feeding, the eagle does not rest. Its eyes scan for the next sign, the next pulse of vulnerability. As the sun rises, the eagle returns to the thermals. Shadows stretch across the plains, an unseen but felt warning. Not far away, the crowned eagles, Stephanoetus coronatus, hover at the edges. They glide through the riparian forests, wings lowered, silent, eyes glittering in the dappled shadow. Their plumage blends with branch and shadow. Monkeys chatter nervously in the canopy. Mother gazelles cluster their young nearby, ears perked, nostrils flared. The eagle waits. Branches sway in the wind. The bird does not move. Muscles tense, talons flex, eyes follow the smallest movement below. A juvenile monkey, a fledgling gazelle too bold, a duiker entering the open. Then it attacks. Wings fold, shadow falls, feet swoop forward, and talons slice through the air. The young monkey leaps, but the eagle is faster. It catches, immobilizes, and ascends. Feathers whip through the air, branches snap in the ascent. The prey stirs, cries muffled beneath a powerful grip. Leaves scatter like confetti. A flash of movement, and it's gone. Its nest waits high above, deep in the canopy, a cradle of twigs and leaves. The chicks twitter. Hunger echoes from the nest. A hunt, and the family feeds for days. The parent lands, talons gently but decisively releasing the prey. The young tear at it, tiny beaks probing, their feeding instinct sharpening with each bite. Even in moments of rest, the eagle does not relax. It perches, eyes scanning the understory and open glades alike. The juveniles practice wing beating in the nest, oblivious to danger while the adult maintains constant vigilance. Every creak, every movement, every change in light is a signal. As dusk falls, the eagle glides to the highest branches. The chicks feed, the forest quiets, and the river murmurs below. Even migratory herds on the plains feel the echo of predation in the distance. At the other end of the scale, mongooses scamper about in restless troops. Slender bodies glide through the tufts of grass, nostrils quivering, eyes bright and unblinking. Every rustle, every flash of movement puts them on alert. One stops. It sniffs. It senses a beetle crawling under a footprint. It lunges, mandibles snapping shut. They scamper, zigzag, disappear and reappear in seconds. Ground squirrels dig with frantic precision. Their tiny claws turn over the earth, uncovering seeds, roots and insects. Every morsel captured is survival, yet danger is never far away. Hawk-like shadows unfurl above, talons extended, eyes flashing. One false move, one miscalculated leap, and the hunter claims his prey. Squirrels freeze, ears twitching, bodies tense. They dart back to the safety of burrows or the shelter of grass. Hedgehogs creep into the dusk, their prickly armor bristling. Noses probe the earth, searching for termites and beetle grubs. Their spines capture the last golden rays of the sun, turning them into rolling fortresses against any predator that dares to approach. In the wake of migration, chaos feeds them. Wildebeest rumbling across the plains flush insects from their hiding places. Crickets jump from the grass. Beetles flee from footprints, and the tiniest life bursts into movement. Mongooses catch what is scattered. Hedgehogs consume the remains. Ground squirrels gather seeds unearthed by trampling hooves. Predators take the lion's share. Small creatures inherit the crumbs, but abundance is fleeting. The endless feast cannot last. By October, the green of the Mara grass fades. The rains return to the Serengeti, and the wildebeest feel it before a drop falls. Exhaustion grips them, bodies marked by river crossings, skins torn by claws and teeth, hooves cracked by the endless march. Yet they move again. The journey south begins, retracing the rivers and plains. They once stormed this path in their millions. The herd is smaller now. Thousands have vanished, claimed by crocodiles, lions, hunger and disease. But still a living tide advances, driven by the rhythm of the rain. Predators stalk them, lions follow at a distance, decimating stragglers. Hyenas prowl with brutal efficiency, slipping through twilight shadows. At night, the air fills with the distant, mournful bellow of wildebeest separated from their mothers, only to fall silent in a burst of violence. For every 100 that move south, one falls, feeding the chain of life. Above them, scavengers glide. Vultures wheel in slow arcs, unhurried but waiting, patient as shadows. They too migrate south. Below, jackals dart in and out of the living tide. A weakened calf stumbles, its ribs branded against the skin. The jackals appear almost instantly, teeth gleaming, howling in unison as they tear at the fallen calf. The calf barely has time to cry before it is gone. Nothing is wasted. Meat, sinew, bone, all recycled back into the ground, back into the cycle that is never broken. This final scavenger feast defines the return. The rains finally come. First in the south, clouds gather in dark curtains, flashing with lightning. The smell of petrichor rises from the cracked earth, carried on the wind. The wildebeest raise their heads as if answering a call. Dust turns to mud, and soon shoots of grass emerge in bursts of green. The herds, worn and reduced, arrive in time to find them. By December, the plains are once again a sea of green. An estimated 250,000 wildebeest die each year during the migration. Their bodies are strewn across rivers, plains, and savannas. In one study, researchers found that through mass drownings alone, wildebeest carcasses inject more than 100 tons of carbon, 25 tons of nitrogen, and 13 tons of phosphorus annually into the Mara river system. These nutrients are then chained through the food web. The bones support microbial biofilms and fish, while organic decomposition enriches life downstream. Meanwhile, the millions of pounds of dung deposited on the plains act as moving fertilizer. Wildebeest graze daily and leave nutrient-rich droppings that aerate the soil and return carbon to it. Their feces and urine stimulate plant regrowth, curb overgrown grasses, and suppress wildfires. This helps the Serengeti store more carbon than it releases, but that's not all. More than 200 species of predators and scavengers survive thanks to the pulse of the migration. Lions raise cubs with wildebeest calves. Hyenas structure their clans around this bounty. Crocodiles gorge themselves for months at river crossings. Vultures, jackals, and even the smallest dung beetles depend on their passage. Herds aren't just prey, they're the foundation. Eliminate them and everything collapses. Without the wildebeest, the grass would grow too tall. Fires would burn unchecked, predators would starve, and scavengers would disappear. The Serengeti would silently crumble, but the wildebeest endure. Driven by an instinct older than memory, they keep walking, year after year, generation after generation. Calves born in February will walk the same circuit as their mothers in June, their hooves already marking the same paths across the savannah. With every footfall, every death, every birth, the Serengeti is renewed. As long as the herds return, as long as the rains fall, the great migration will thunder on.